GreenerU put these webinars together to give us a place to talk about topics relevant to sustainability and facilities professionals, and especially to highlight programs that demonstrate best-in-class practices. Today's focus is on commissioning, as you all know. We have Josey Schwartz, Energy, Education, and Outreach Analyst from American University. You there, Josie?
Yeah, hi. Good morning, Ben. Well, I guess good afternoon. I'm so thrilled to be here with you and everybody on the line.
So we'll cover our agenda and some quick logistics before we jump in. So our agenda for the day, we're going to go through the introduction to logistics, and then followed by a quick presentation from me about the psychology of commissioning, then a presentation by Josie about commissioning at American University and the ways they do this really well. Then we'll have a Q&A session. So some quick logistics before we get into it. So everyone's muted, just so we can manage audio on the call today. Please type your questions into the question box at any point, and we'll get to as many as possible during the Q&A later on. The Q&A will start right around 12:30. We'll do our best to leave plenty of time for that session. If you have any technical issues during the webinar, you can reach out to Scott. Throws everything off, and we'll schedule a make-up date sometime later on, just in case tech gets in the way or anything. Great. So first, a quick about GreenerU and why we are hosting these webinars. Efficiency and sustainability goals, and this often includes addressing infrastructural, operational, and cultural barriers. An infrastructural barrier might be inefficient boilers or lighting systems, and our engineers can help with retrofits to install more efficient equipment. Operational barriers might include systems and processes that impact sustainability, such as making sure that sustainability is included in decision-making on campus. We can help to facilitate operational changes to support more sustainable processes and practices. Cultural barriers may include social norming of sustainability, so that campus community members get that sense that sustainability is just how things are done, or people's self-concept as sustainability champions. All of our work is informed by behavior theory, as today's presentation will show. Of course, each of these factors influences the others, which is why we take a holistic approach to evaluate specific issues and engineer sustainable solutions. Our whole team works together to implement improvements tailored to the institution. So today we'll focus on primarily the cultural factors and how these impact infrastructural work on campus in terms of commissioning. Josie will provide some examples of how American has integrated this thinking into its operations really well. Before we launch into the main content, I have a quick poll. So if everyone will take just a moment to respond to this question appearing on your screen, just click the option that applies to you most accurately. The votes are tallying up. So it looks like we have about 15% saying that you've never heard of it before and don't know what commissioning is. We have about 50% saying that you know the general concept of commissioning, and about 35% of you are saying that you're very familiar. So Josie and I will factor that in as we move forward here, especially Josie, since he'll be on the heavy end of the content there. Great. So now that we know who's talking and what we're talking about, let's launch into some of the content here. So I'm going to cover the organizational psychology of commissioning. So we'll start with a quick scenario. So you're driving your car and you run into some traffic. It's 11 a.m. on a Tuesday, so you can't attribute this to rush hour. This traffic is really unusual. Your emotional response is likely to be frustrated and stressed. You're wondering how long this is going to take, and no one likes to sit in traffic. You'll naturally begin to think of possible reasons for the traffic. Maybe it's a wreck up ahead, or some construction, or some ducks crossing the road, rather, and people are waiting until they cross the road so they can proceed. Maybe there's some construction up ahead, and that's causing some constraints in the lanes. and for all you know, it could be aliens invading, and it's about to get much more exciting around here. So you can see how you start to fill in the story and think through what it could be. Then you see emergency services drive by, and this is super helpful because you can delete a lot of options. You know, it's probably a wreck up ahead, and you feel a little better because you have more context and feel more informed. The situation's out of control and unpredictable, so you'll just have to wait for it to clear up. The thing here is that nothing has changed in the situation. It's just that you have more information now, and that's empowering. You feel better just from knowing more. But there's still some information you don't have. What caused the wreck? As you sit there, you think, well, maybe the root cause was, in fact, ducks crossing the road. And they came out of nowhere, and some poor driver up ahead had to swerve to avoid them. And in the process, the driver caused the wreck. So in this case, you're likely to feel sympathy for the driver. They were doing the best they could with a bad situation, and you hope they're okay. So this is called situational attribution. You're attributing the problem to situational factors that people are dealing with. But then you sit there and you think a little more, and maybe it didn't have anything to do with ducks at all. We know that texting while driving is a big problem nowadays. We know it's highly irresponsible behavior. Maybe the driver was texting while they were driving and caused a wreck, and now everyone's stuck in traffic, and they're inconvenienced while police and ambulances and tow trucks come in to clean up the situation. So in this case, you'll likely be angry, because this is a terrible person who did a terrible thing, and now it's throwing your day off. So this is called personal attribution, because you're ascribing the problem to a person and their character. The thing with this problem, this process, is that it's exhausting and frustrating. You spend all this time and effort trying to fill in this little slice of the pie, and this emotional demand can be the difference between a good and a bad day. So how does this relate to facilities? In our experience at GreenerU, attribution error, as this is called, is one of the main problems we see on campuses. So take the average building occupant. This occupant's space is uncomfortable, and they submitted a couple work orders in the past, but they never heard anything and still isn't resolved. This occupant doesn't know the full story, so they're left to fill it in on their own, and when they do, it won't be very nice. They'll think, facilities must be lazy, they never fix my problem. And they always surprise me when the work is happening in my space. I never know in advance. And when I need them, they're so elusive, I can never find them. They must not care about my problem or me or anything that's happening on this campus. For all I know, they're the aliens who invaded and caused that wreck the other day. I don't think I like them very much. This is a clear example of personal attribution in action. Meanwhile, in facilities, you see the full story, and you know that there is a lot of challenging and sometimes extreme weather. There are a lot of financial pressures you're dealing with. There are lots of subcontractors doing work on campus, and you know how much work there is to get done. You know the number of people to coordinate as you're trying to get all these things done. You know how fast-paced technological changes are and how hard it can be to keep facilities up to date, as well as how many compatibility issues this can cause. You know the diversity of different types of facilities that you're managing, and you think there's so many factors. How can they not see that this is a lot happening that's on my plate? So you can see that clearly this is situational attribution, because you're saying the problem is with the situation I'm in, and not with me or with my department. So as we move forward, how do we get to a situation that's more like this? Well, there's some key practices. Those key practices include engaging stakeholders throughout the process to fill in the story for them so they don't have to go through that effort and frustration and available so occupants know they can rely on occupant needs and concerns so they know that you're on their side. Building relationships and trust to have more resilient relationships. This will make things go more smoothly and work is going on as planned, and help to make addressing issues easier when challenges come up. So now that we've gone through some of the organizational psychology of commissioning, I'll turn things over to Josie, who will talk about how American facilities implement these best practices in their commissioning processes on campus. Take it away, Josie.
Thanks, Ben. You're a hard act to follow. So good afternoon, everybody. I'm, again, so thrilled to be here. It's been great doing this content with GreenerU because I think it covers a lot of things that most people miss. And there's a lot of fundamental things that are very important that our industry doesn't talk about so much. For example, like the psychology of these things. So my name is Josey Schwartz. As you know by now, you might be looking at my title wondering what my job is and why I would be the one talking about commissioning. Well, up until just a few months ago, my title was commissioning coordinator, and I was the first to fill that position at AU. I had the pleasurable challenge of working with some of our brilliant folks here in facilities and across campus to create what is now a very successful and formal commissioning program at AU, which is what I'm here to tell you about. So to do that, I'd first like to develop a shared understanding of some definitions of commissioning. I find working with different folks and different stakeholders that people sort of have their own idea of what it is. So we'll just do some first things first. I'll then build off of that by teaching some of the fundamentals from what we've seen as a successful component to any commissioning program. In the third part, I'll try to color in that commissioning framework with some examples and lessons here from AU. And then finally, I wanted to discuss some of the resources that my colleagues and I have developed here at AU that we want to share in hopes that it can help you develop some institution and even project-specific commissioning resources of your own. I'm going to go through this as quick as I can so that we can dig into anything that I miss or that you guys want to hear more about in the Q&A portion. So let's get to it. Next slide, please, Ben. So, I'm going to use somewhat industry, technical, jargony language. So I wanted to start, which is not me. I'm not formally technically trained, so I like to put things in practical terms. And I wanted to start by saying that commissioning is really a tool to make sure that your systems work as they're designed to work and that you're getting what you're paid for. And the commissioning helps you do that early, so to make sure that you're doing it, when your project or building looks more like the picture on the left here, rather than the one on the right, because if you wait until ceilings are closed up, if you wait until walls are in place, vaults are buried, and your occupants are in the building to check out what you have under the hood, you're going to be in for some big surprises. And it's not just a one-way street. This is very helpful for your contractors too, your occupants, other stakeholders, because things happen, mistakes happen, and everybody wants to do their best to try to get it right the first time, and it's done as quick as possible. Next slide. So our technical definition of commissioning is it's a collection of verification activities that we break into 6 sequential phases, all the way from planning through ongoing commissioning. And this chart here, don't worry about seeing it. I know it's a bit scrunched. It's in our master commissioning plan, which will be a resource provided to you after this. Next slide, please. So here at the university, we have 4 types of commissioning, really, that it technically breaks up into. I'm going to focus on sort of commissioning in general, as if it's a full commissioning process, because that scope encompasses the other 3 types that you see there. In retro and ongoing commissioning, the planning phase is reduced in scope. The design and construction and warranty phases, they even go away completely. And then continuous commissioning, it's really a beast of its own. It's also known as real-time commissioning or fault detection diagnosis. We have a few pilot projects that we've just developed I'm really excited about. Feel free to ask more about it in the Q&A, but again, I'm going to focus on just developing a commissioning program and what that looks like here at AU. Next slide. So there's going to be some key activities that you want to follow throughout the phases that I just talked about. And everything's going to build from what's known as the basis of design. It's comprised of your design and construction standards and your owner's project requirements, which is pretty much anything that you need in this specific project that maybe it doesn't apply universally to everything. So the next thing you really want to focus on, and it may seem very obvious, but you have to follow everything through the design development of drawings, specification. It would seem logical that, hey, I put everything I did due diligence, I'm putting my standards together and putting together a basis of design. and Mr. Contractor should just include those, and everybody lives happily ever after. Well, it really doesn't, unfortunately, work like that, as we all probably painfully know. And so you're going to want to follow that through design and construction document development, as well as through the submittal phase. So for any submittals that are in the scope of commissioning, you want to review those and make sure that everything that you need in there and that you were supposed to get in there is in there. We, for example, on one of our recent buildings, our master electrician has a very, very, very hard requirement that there is to be no aluminum wiring. He only uses copper wiring for his buildings. Now, there's a bunch of life cycle and costing reasons for that, but nonetheless, it was in our design and construction standards, a basis of design. Everything was going through, and in the submittal phase, the contractors flipped it through, and one party approved it, and it was a nightmare. I mean, hundreds of thousands of dollars to replace copper wiring, aluminum back to copper. Next slide, please. The next key areas are going to be functional performance testing. So this is the actual verification phase. You followed it through the design, and now everything's in place. You want to make sure it works as a system. Now, if you're doing this in-house, your staff is obviously going to be there. But even for capital projects, one best practice that we've learned here to do at AU is to send our facility staff to witness all of the functional performance testing for the systems in the scope of commissioning. And it's very crucial that we do this because it lets our staff know not only about the building, but what's problematic during construction and how the builder and installer themselves are troubleshooting to solve these problems. It's like an informal training of sorts. And as for training itself, we make that very formal. We go nuts. It's tough to show a good return on investment. We spend a lot of money sending our staff to training, but it really is a wonderful investment. Again, it may seem obvious, but one thing we have to do in a successful commissioning program is make sure it happens. It gets pushed to the end of the job. Nobody wants to focus on it. Everybody's focusing on getting the building finished. But we get out, we make a plan early. We require pre-approved agendas. We require that training be done in 2 parts. We have a classroom portion where the staff is taught the design intent. And then we have a follow-up session where people go in the field and they really get to do some hands-on stuff. All of the training that we do, we make sure to video record it, and we put it in AU's online learning management system so that any staff that misses the training, any new hires that we get, or anybody who even wants a refresher that was there, they can go online. It's there all the time, and they can get up to speed on not only training, but building and system-specific training, which is it's paramount. It gives you a lot more bang for your buck. One thing we also do is we even train our occupants in our new capital projects. When we're building a brand new building with some fancy systems, green building doesn't mean much if it's not operated green, and everybody's not an energy manager or a commissioning specialist, but we're all occupants, and everybody has a role to play. So we train the occupants on what they need to know. We even train our work coordinators, the people who process complaints from the occupants. So we really try to involve everybody, at least in some level, and to the level that they need. And then finally, the last really key thing you want to make sure is your closeout document. It's tedious, it's boring. I mean, a lot of it is, but it's very, very, very important. This is going to include the operation and maintenance manuals, any special reports like tab reports. We look for certifications for backflow prevention, other inspections for elevators, storm vaults, I mean, you name it. We look for warranty documents because, as we all know, things don't have the same warranty periods, and there's things that you must do to maintain the warranty and things that you may not do, or else it will void the warranty. For our as-built drawings, which that also includes, we make sure to get 1 hard copy as well as 1 soft copy that we keep in a central repository in our shared drive. And then the hard copies are all put in a central repository as well, where our staff knows to go look for them if they need them. And again, it's very tedious, but make a list, share it with your contractors and your stakeholders early, continuously engage them because people have their own jobs. People are very concerned with their own priorities. and file it somewhere safe, make it somewhere central and accessible. Next slide. So the two fundamentals, if you take anything away from this presentation, I've probably said it quite a few times now, but I want to reiterate, your design and construction standards, they're very, very, very important. Again, a lot of this stuff, it takes extra work. Again, everybody has their own jobs, but you want to make sure that you're promulgating, that you are putting into words what you need and you understand what you and your department needs before you can expect anybody else to live up to those standards. We try to make those in a format that's user-friendly, and we put them online. We'll share those links with you at the end so that everybody can access them. We send them to everybody who needs to receive them on campus, our project and construction managers, our contractors, vendors, their contractors, their vendors. And again, the second fundamental that really I want to drive home here is just consistent stakeholder engagement. You can't engage people enough. Next slide, please. And then quickly, I also, a lot of people, when I talk to them about commission, they want to know exactly what it looks like. And so I just wanted to review exactly what we do for a typical in-house project. Now, it'll vary based on scope of the project, complexity, the size of the building of the project, the number of occupants, type of occupants. There's a lot of variables, but typically this is kind of what it looks like when we install or replace equipment, small renovations, capital renewal and deferred maintenance projects, and retro commissioning. We have a core team with our master electrician, our chief engineer, our control specialist, our director of energy and engineering, and our commissioning coordinator. And so they'll get together, they'll look at a project, they'll review the scope, the prints, and they'll decide on what a good scope for commissioning will be. Typically, these include the HVAC systems, like air handling units. We're always replacing those. Associated terminal equipment, controls. We send that scope to the shop supervisors, and they'll assign a staff based on skill sets, availability. That typically includes an energy management system technician, so a BAS technician, a zone technician, or excuse me, like a building technician, and an engineer from our plant. We hold a pre-commissioning meeting where those guys are going to review the checklist that we develop for that job, the sequence of operations, so they know kind of what's supposed to be going on as they're checking, and as well as the system design intent as a whole. So they review where the project is and how it should fit in well. When we do the functional performance testing, we make sure to create a deficiencies list to note anything that needs to be changed before we accept this project from the contractor. We have that corrective work performed. If necessary, we retest. And one important thing, one best practice we've learned here is to have our controls contractor as well as our mechanical contractor on site, so that any small problems can be fixed right on the spot. So we don't have 5 different parties, 5 different stakeholders out there at one time, and then everybody has to reschedule based on some small change. Afterwards, we host a post-commissioning meeting where anything that should be included in the final report is noted. We write that final report. We make sure it's available to the building manager and the technicians afterwards. Make sure they know where to find it for any ongoing efforts thereafter or any operations and maintenance if they want to go back to it. And then we conduct training in the same way that I described before. Next slide, please. And so these are 3 resources that I wanted to show you because, again, when I talk to people about commissioning, they always ask me, specific questions like, I'll say, oh, well, you want to have these type of activities and look for these in this process or this phase. And so people ask me specifically, what does that look like? So I wanted to make sure that you had our master commissioning plan, which is like a roadmap kind of for all parties, and it details roles and responsibilities. It's probably more than you'd ever want to know about commissioning, but it's a great resource. Also, I'm going to send you one of our project-specific plans so you can see specifically what our guys are looking at in the field when they do commissioning. And then, of course, our design and construction standards. That was part of a committee that I chaired as well for a long time, up until February. And so it was helpful for me to look at what other universities were doing while I put ours together. And that's it. I think we're ready for the Q&A, Ben, unless you have some other things to deliver here. And
yeah, great, Josie. So thanks for talking through some of American's procedures there. And I hope that people saw the parallels between the attribution theory presentation and what you discussed. So now we can move into the Q&A. We have a few questions that have come in so far. Let's see. We'll pick one out here. This one is, what's an example of a situation in which Americans' efforts at stakeholder engagement helped to avoid or resolve an issue that otherwise would have been a substantial delay or big hit to the budget? So do you have an example, Josie, of how this approach has helped you to avoid issues in the past?
Oh, man. Unfortunately, I do have plenty of examples. Well, I guess fortunately. Some of them were examples from lessons learned that we now do. But yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Projects are driven by budget and schedule. We talked about consistent stakeholder collaboration. OIT, Office of Information Technology, they're always a big player in any institution, whether you're a university or what have you, but they're going to have their own requirements, and especially we see sometimes competing interests for our controls specialists. So they have some requirements that they need backed by OIT. And yeah, so there was a project for our new law school, and we found out early on that OIT as well as our controls were both banking on using the same number of ports and switches. And so, it was a good thing to have fleshed out early, because then we were able to run the appropriate number of, appropriate size and number of conduits. We were able to anticipate the number of switches and blades that we would need so that we can get the connectivity that we need. Another thing is an example for our retro commissioning activities for some of our buildings. We wanted to try to utilize, because we also do lead volume here. UC Santa Barbara and University of Florida were the three institutions piloting that for the U.S. Green Building Council. And we wanted to use a mechanical ventilation strategy in one of our buildings that we're certifying. But to do that, it required open windows further than public safety felt comfortable with doing. So it was good to engage public safety early on to say, hey, here's our plan. What are your requirements? And they didn't feel comfortable with opening the windows past a certain number of inches. So we had to use a mix of mechanical ventilation as well as natural ventilation.
Great. Thanks for those examples, Josie. So we have another one here. Let's see. So this person is expressing a fear to approach stakeholders because of the response they might get, and they're worried that it might just be a source of trouble, constant phone calls, never any work orders. Can you speak to some of the challenges that sometimes come up and whether those challenges reflect deficiencies in the process or deficiencies in something else?
Yeah, and I think that's another great question, and it ties into a lot of what you were covering in your content with the attribution error, because and also, as you mentioned, people have a cognitive bias towards narratives as well. So I can't always say that it will come out well. I mean, because sometimes it's tough to get to people and communicate and work with them. I don't want to make any fantasies about that. But the alternative is doing things in silos and letting people think, oh well, facilities is just making all sorts of standards because that's what they want and they're excessive. They want the project budget to pay for this. When really, bringing people to the table, we show them, hey, look, this is what it costs us to maintain it, and this is what it costs the university in the long run. and even specifically approaching people, I mean, just approach it with questions, you know, and not answers. It's, you know, when you show up to work with only a hammer, everything begins to look like a nail. And so, you know, that's just say, hey, this is our intention. This is a problem. This is a real problem. These are our needs. You know, how can we work together to make it work for both of us?
Great. And a related question here. This person is wondering how you balance occupant engagement with also not just giving up all your control and pushing back with occupants and making sure that your project has everything that it needs incorporated within it, but also that you're addressing occupant needs as you go through. Can you talk about that balance?
Yeah. So this goes a little bit back to that basis design I talked about, and it's getting people involved early. It is extra work. It's boring. Everybody has their own 9 to 5, but you know, managing expectations by bringing everybody to the table. And you know, if you feel like you're going to get some pushback, you know, you need this in your project. You want to make sure that you get it in your project. Use an anchoring bias. I mean, you know, throw it out there early. I mean, really set the expectations. Say, I need X, Y, Z. This is what it's going to take from my end, and really, you know, let people know that early on. And typically, we find that people, you know, they might fuss a little bit. Typically, people are happy just to talk it out. But as long as you do it early and not late in the game, people are pretty happy. And if you can communicate that to your occupants as well, kind of this is what's going on in your building, this is what it means to you, here's some potential service interruptions. You know, again, you know, you can help mitigate that tendency for narrative bias as well as the other cognitive biases that you talked about.
Yeah, great. And I'll say that we've seen that in our work at GreenerU too, where we've been working with occupants and engaging them, and it's important to manage expectations up front, we've learned, because we've had a couple of projects where we got into it and people wanted customized lighting in their office, you know, per person, or they wanted more specialized services like that. And we go to a certain, we try to customize as much as we possibly can, but naturally there are constraints like time and the budget. And so we've had a couple times where we went through the process and had to refine expectations as we went through, and found that was important.
Yeah, we see that here too.
One more question for you, Josie. So this person is asking whether how you make this integrated approach, this more substantial occupant engagement approach, work with the same amount of time and level of resources and budget that you had prior. Can you talk about how this takes more resources, or what all is involved in it?
Yeah. So the short answer is yes. I mean, it does take more resources. You know, I don't want to be vague here because resources could be time, money, what have you. But so when we send out requests for proposals, we make sure that all of that is accounted for. So not only that we say, oh, yeah, you know, we want functional performance testing, you know, we want reviews during the design, the construction, the submittal phase, the acceptance phase. We want you to review our turnover documents. But we make sure to include, and here's what that looks like. It's going to require a field train, you know, a classroom session, a field session. So some of this it does. I mean, we say we have an enhanced training program, but for the most part, I mean, it's really built in there. Contractors, they're willing to work with you as long as you again get out ahead of it early. Make sure you know what you need. Promulgate your standards. Promulgate your expectations. Send it early, and you know, look at it as an investment. I mean, it's like a general guiding principle of sustainability, where things certainly cost more in the short run, but in the long run, and for most institutions, if you're a college and you're a university like us, I mean, the payback is you know, it's always there, because these buildings are going to be heavily used and occupied for, you know, decades to come. So, things do unfortunately cost a little bit more in the front, but it's well worth the investment.
Perfect. Thanks, Josie. We have one more question that came in. This person is asking about labs, because that tends to be a pretty unique space. Do you have any tips or tricks or stories about engaging occupants in lab spaces and how to make that work well?
Oh, yeah. We just are renovating we did a few labs before, and then we have one main science building as well that has most of our labs. And yeah, that person is right. Labs are very tricky because, with other departments, say if it's, marketing or alumni relations or something like that, that's a typical office space for office needs. We have swing spaces that we can use. So, if we're taking a space offline for construction or for testing, it's like, oh yeah, no problem, just go to this building for the summer while we do this project. But labs are difficult because lab space is limited, and they're expensive, and they require a lot of energy intensity. Really, I would just say with labs, make sure that you're, unfortunately, I don't really have any novel advice, but I mean, if you follow the recipe for all the rest of, your project, the recipe is the same. I hate to be so reiterative, but just understand what you're going to need very early. Make sure you're connecting your contractors because there's a lot more control work in labs. Obviously, there's a lot more opportunity for energy management, which again is, if you can point these things out, I mean, upper management is never going to say no to a good return on investment. Yeah, just know what you need, know what's going in there, and get out early, connect people early, and get things, get everybody in the same room or on the same conference call, and create these plans very, very, very early.
Great, thanks, Josie. Yeah, and I'll speak to that for just a minute too. I know that in our work we've found it extraordinarily important to engage people in labs just because of the different conditions there. I know that we run into clean rooms and we have safety cabinets and fume hoods and different HVAC arrangements and different types of research happening in different spaces. And so we always work to customize what we put in each space depending on what's happening there, just across the board, but especially with research, just to make sure that we are supporting their activities. And so we found that it's extra important to go in on the front end in labs and make sure that we know what all is going on there and what the needs are of the occupants, especially the ones that we can't predict and the ones that we can't just make up and know in our own heads. So we have to have that conversation with them to make sure that we can do it well. This person is asking how you incorporate engagement and communication on an ongoing basis as issues arise. So can you talk about when challenges come up and how you address those through this approach?
I'm sorry, Ben, you were cutting out just a bit. Do you mind repeating that?
How you incorporate engagement and communication on an ongoing basis as issues arise. So can you talk about when challenges come up and how you address those?
Yeah, so you cut out a little bit, but I think I understand the question. I think you're asking as things arise, because inevitably problems arise, the unknown happens, and how do you address that when they do come up? Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, so really establishing lines of communication early. Part of when you receive our Masterful Commissioning plan, in the front page of that document and in the front page of any commissioning plan that we write the names, all of the major stakeholders in any particular project. So not only do we have a charrette where hopefully people can flesh a lot of these things out to try to get some face time with people and try to make connections early on. But we have in the beginning of every single commissioning plan that we do the scope of work, all of the parties that are involved, so that as things do arise, or when things do arise, you know whom to contact, and sort of you already know this person. You have at least some type of connection with them. So I mean that's that's really what one of the tools that we use is so that nobody's like, oh man, I got this problem. Whom do I call? What do I do? Just really making connections so that people can solve problems as they arise.
Great, thanks, Josie. Yeah, I know that as we work on campuses, we also see that, and we've had some projects recently where things didn't go quite as planned just because that's how life works. And we, it was really handy having the relationships that we built with occupants, because we were able to go back to them and say, hi, I'm Ben, you know me. We did this work, we thought it was going to work this way, but it didn't work out that way. We've had this issue come up and wanted to schedule a time when we could sit down and chat with you about it, and a time when we could go through and address it, maybe do a walkthrough of the building, or talk to occupants about what's going on, just to make sure that we had everything smoothed out. And I'm seeing that Kailash, one of our engineers, wants to speak, so I'll turn it over to him for a minute.
Thanks, Ben. So yeah, as part of GreenerU's what we call as OPX, which is our continuous optimization, we use some analytics to determine if there are any issues. So we would know that ahead of time, and if people complain, go there, talk to them, and let them know what's happening with the issue. Do that on a quarterly basis. So I see that as an important thing to continue communicating with the customer, because that's just going to keep them and reduce work orders.
Yeah, great. So having the ongoing engagement throughout the process, from the beginning all the way through the end, and then even anything that comes up after the end, when you think that you're done, is important. Was there anything else you wanted to add to that, Josie?
No, I mean, that's actually, yeah, it's a very fantastic point. I mean, I was really thinking of that from just a strict commissioning standpoint, but you guys are exactly right. Even in an ongoing commissioning effort to understand what's going on in the building, I mean, my primary role now is energy management, and so I have a lot of analytics in my dashboard where I can see energy use and spikes, and you know, I can kind of say, oh man, this looks funny, this looks like an anomaly, but consistent customer engagement is important. I mean, one of the things that we're doing right now is making sure that our equipment schedules match up with the occupancy schedules, because when we do all these projects and renovations, things change, departments change, needs change, and so we're really just checking in with them for a few reasons. One, to say, hey, well, first we want to make sure that you're comfortable in your space. You know, we want to make sure that all of the equipment is running during your core hours, and say, hey, this, you know, we see that you're in here from like around 8:30 to 6. You know, does that still match up with your core hours? And then let them know that, hey, we're trying to save some energy and put equipment in minimal positions when you're not in there. And then, you know, on a third end, you know, it's sort of an outreach effort where we're reminding them that, hey, trying to mitigate that attribution error to say, facilities cares about you. We have a dedicated group of persons here during the day, and we have at least a few people, a skeleton crew here at night, 24/7, 365. So if you have any problems in your space, you know, give us a call. You know, we can do a certain number of things to try to make you feel more comfortable in your space.
Yeah, we found occupancy to be one of the main things that we can't predict super well on our end. We always have to ask occupants, and then it's always changing because you have seasonal fluctuations and you have finals week, and we find buildings that have a strict 9 to 5 schedule, or auditorium spaces that are hardly, you know, they're used once or twice a week, but when they're used, they better be in good shape. And then we have some spaces where people say, there's students in here all the time building robots or doing research or whatever wacky thing it is that students maybe got to in there.
Yeah, and sorry, if I could just add one more thing. I mean,
sure.
You're exactly right. I mean, even for the spaces that are infrequent, I mean, we have some spaces where we have some tools that we do to make sure that people are comfortable putting CO2 monitors in places that are infrequent, so that the equipment adjusts based on how many people are in there. And again, talking about consistent stakeholder engagement, we're doing that. You know, personally, my team and I will reach out when we have specific projects that we're doing to let them know what's going on. But we also have ongoing sustainability tours on campus. And our sustainability coordinator is great at pointing out. They say, hey, you see this ugly little box on the wall? Well, that's a CO2 sensor. It also is a temperature sensor, a humidity sensor, to make sure that we're monitoring. We let them know we're monitoring airspeed, ventilation, humidity, temperature, CO2. So we point these things out to people, and it really it helps us to try to reduce occupant I guess discomfort in spaces, or if they are discomfort, to let them know hey, we're here. We can do some things to help.
Yeah, great. I can remember one time that we were on a campus doing a walkthrough, and I asked people where the thermostat was. And this is speaking to a previous process that maybe didn't go as well as it would have. And we looked around and we could not find this thermostat. We knew that there was one in the room. We eventually found it behind the microwave in the kitchen area. And there were people who had worked there for years who had never seen that, didn't know it was there. And that explained a lot of issues that we'd seen in the space and helped out a lot. So again, that training component is key. So Josie, I have one more question for you. Are there any emerging trends that you've seen in commissioning, or anything that's really above and beyond what we talked about today that people should be aware of or keep their eye on moving forward?
Yeah, I'm really thrilled to talk about all of this stuff, as you might have caught on by now. But I really think that we're piloting projects on continuous commissioning, as I mentioned earlier. So it's not only a way to engage your operations and to make sure and enhance occupant comfort, but we try to save a lot of energy for that. And we have one approach where it's sort of a online content dashboard that we go in, and there's a firm that we use, and we use their software, and it'll program everything down to terminal equipment, and it'll have a baseline for how that equipment should be performing, saying, hey, this chiller should be consuming so much energy, it should have this type of spike, and if it doesn't, we get notified, the other energy analyst and myself, and then we can send that, we can say, hey, what's going on here? We say, oh, it's just graduation practice. Like, yeah, that's normal. The auditorium is going to need extra cooling, so that makes sense. But if it's not normal, we can send people out to go say, hey, this is an anomaly. What's going on? And this is happening real time. I mean, it takes some infrastructure to set up. We've been putting sub-meters in for a few years now, and it takes a certain number of points in your BAS system. But that's the trend, because it reduces the number of times that our guys have to make rounds around campus just to say, hey, what's going on? Is everything okay? So we can, we're still sending people out, but we're reducing that number of times, and we're saving a substantial amount of energy by doing that. And then sort of the second pilot project is, pretty much the same thing, but we have a third party doing it and notifying us when these things. So one of them is more of a hands-on tool for us to see whether we like that approach or if we would prefer to have a third party do it. But that's what I see as the wave of the future. Automate as much as you can, and reduce the amount of labor, because labor. We just got shown a graph in our all-staff meeting the other day on how much of our resources go towards labor, and it's a big chunk. It's way more than half. So if you can cut that labor hour down, save some energy and make your occupants happier, that's the power of commissioning.
Kailash here. Josie, I just want to add on a little more that I think in trends, Ben, the question you asked, that analytics, I think, is what is going to help everyone in going forward, because that basically takes a lot of data, processes it for you, and produces it or gives it to you in a form that's easy to understand. And it predicts a lot of stuff, too, that you may go and address issues before they actually happen. And that's definitely going to increase comfort, help customers, and give you an opportunity to explain to your customer what's going wrong with this, with the data you have in hand. So.
Great.
Yeah, that's so true.
So Josie, we have one more for you. This one, we'll see if it's out of left field or not. Someone's asking how many different building automation systems you have at American. Do you know that off the top of your head?
Yeah, I do. So part of being heavily involved in commissioning, as I mentioned earlier, is working with our master control specialist. And we have one vendor. We work really, really, really hard to keep some consistency, and we're a Siemens campus. But so we only have one type of system. We're switching everything to BACnet, so we're switching it. The problem with having one proprietor of controls, it's good because it's consistent, but the problem is that, again, it's proprietary software. So another trend, to touch on the question before, that's happening is that you're seeing a lot of controls vendors, and even the big players like your Siemens, your Johnson Controls, Automated Logics, they're all switching to open protocols so that we can use different types of products and softwares with our BAS. And that also goes back to the pilot projects we talked about. We're able to bring in different firms and different softwares, different products, because we have that open protocol with BACnet, and we can have our vendors hook into our BAS system so that they can run the points that they need to run through their algorithms in order for us to be able to perform that continuous real-time commissioning.
Perfect. So that runs through just about every question we have here. So I'll go ahead and wrap things up, Josie. Is there anything else you want to mention before I go to next steps and wrap up?
Nope. My contact information has been sitting up there for quite a while. Sorry you had to stare at my picture for that long. But please, I say it and I really do mean it. I love talking about this stuff. Again, it's not glamorous, it's not sexy stuff, but it's very important. We take it very seriously, and I'm more than happy to share any resources that we have. I'm happy to get on the phone. I'm happy to answer emails. Anything you guys need about commissioning, I'll do my best to maybe help a little bit.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Josie. So for next steps, I'll mention that we'll follow up with the survey, and everyone transcript of the Q&A. We'll post that to our GreenerU website and email it out to attendees. We also have a couple of additional resources from American that Josie mentioned during his presentation, and we'll put those on our website and email that out as well. So thanks so much for joining us today. Get in touch with GreenerU if we can help with anything. And as Josie mentioned, he's a resource as well. Thanks so much, everyone, for your time. And thanks, Josie. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Thanks, GreenerU. This has been an absolute pleasure. You guys are fantastic.
All right, thanks. We'll see y'all later.
All right, see ya.